progress.
It's almost like church, everybody's so quiet. There you go. Well, it is 9 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. It is March 15th, 2022. We welcome all of you and those of you online to the regular County Commissioners Board meeting. At this time, I call on Commissioner Tony Haas to give us an invocation.
Lord, we thank you for another day and the much needed moisture. Lord, we ask you to be with all those in the Ukraine, especially the children. Please guide them to safety and then reunite them with their families in the near future. We pray all those that suffer from war and injustice. We pray for the young and the old and the rejected ones. We ask your mercy in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Commissioner Would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Dorothy Johnson, roll call please.
Commissioner Hess?
Here.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Here.
Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Here. Item D, approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
One change, Commissioner, need to remove item 5, Romero School District presentation. The informed administrative assistant Paul Vassell this morning, they would not be able to make the meeting.
Okay. All right, any other changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
We have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Move for approval of the agenda with that correction.
Second.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Yes, item number 2, consideration of minutes to a regular meeting minutes of March 1st, 2022. Thank you to Administrative Assistant Paul Vassell for sending those, and it's a lot of typing. Any questions, dialogue? We have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved. Second motion.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Yes. Item number 3, reading of correspondence, Commissioners' Committee reports. We have Commissioner Tony Haas. Would you like to go first?
Thank you. March 1st and 2nd, I attended the Colorado Ag Forum. Colorado Agriculture Leadership Program, CAL, hosted this annual meeting along with CSU and FFA students to recognize the past and future leaders of Colorado. This forum also informs of new innovations, agriculture, forecasts, and new policies that affect food production, and has been annually held for 30 years. Senator Steve House, or former Senator Steve House, now of the Braver Angels, was the keynote speaker and gave a presentation on the political polarization we are currently witnessing. March 4th, we had our CCI legislative update. In the Ag, Wildlife, and Rural Affairs Committee, the committee took a position of monitor with amendments to both Senate Bill 131, the pesticide bill, and Senate Bill 138. On March 7th, Ymca had a presentation and update. Due to more skilled workers, production is up. The coal market is stronger because of the Russian conflict, and we're pretty stoked about that. They're fully staffed at this time, and a hiring freeze has been implemented until they find adequate housing. Morale is up because they've been able to find much more housing for those individuals, and not as many of them are staying in the hotels. I believe 70 of them are actually housed now, and 20 of them are still in the hotel at the time of this meeting. March 10th, Colorado Parks and Wildlife had a meeting with the state board. They asked me to do a presentation on on the county's view of the Fisher Peak plan, and it's getting real close to its fruition. So I did a presentation to the state Colorado Parks and Wildlife Board on the progress and process of the master plan and how the team has worked together to meet all the needs of all the special interests in the public, and also taking care of the wildlife and Fisher Peak and the cultural, historical aspects of it, all of it at the same time. So they've done a fantastic job in my point of view. On March 15th, on March 10th and 11th, we had another legislative update meeting and kind of an update on Senate Bill 131 and 138. Senate Bill 131, protecting pollinators and people. It was the pesticide bill went down 6-1 in the Senate Ag Committee. Senate Bill 138 is in the process of being amended, but probably the most impactful news that we got for the Ag, Wildlife, and Rural Affairs Committee was that the Section 4 was removed from the bill, which would have eliminated anything under 50 horses to be used in Colorado. So it's now been reduced to about 10 horsepower, and but there are some exemptions there, and if you want to read more about the bill, you can go to the CC's website. We'll have it posted. But so it's protected. We made our voices loud and clear that Ag had a lot of different concerns with the way the Section 4 of that bill read, and it was going to negatively impact agriculture very detrimentally. Because most of us the tractors that we use on our farms are 50 horses and under. That would include generators to keep our animals warm in the winter, to keep ourselves warm in the winter. When we have a power outage, it was just an oversight on the bill sponsor's behalf, and after it was brought to his attention, he removed that section. So today at 9:30, I'll be having a meeting with Mayor Hancock and Pro Tem Mayor Salazar, all of the Ag leaders, Chad Worthman with the Colorado Farm Bureau, Terry Frankhauser with the Colorado Cattlemen's Association, and many others, totaling about 30. And we're going to be looking at how to bridge the rural and urban divide. And planning will begin to put in advance and schedule some throughout the year so that we can do a better job of educating the urban and the urban. So we'll see what comes out of
That's my report, sir. Appreciate it. Commissioner Lopez.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Commissioner Hass. We'll get on that here shortly. Hopefully, with this on the agenda, that will we have other you are on the 8th, March 8th, we met with the Main Street group discussing the possible way use signage up and down the highway 12 corridor. I can't remember the lady's name. Judy. So we're looking at moving forward with that. We're going to have some town hall meetings. I think we're trying to schedule one now up in the Merrill region and possibly one up in the Stormont region, getting the communities together, promoting the area, having some of locations and possibly significant historical sites as well along the Highway 12 corridor, which is exciting because unless you're familiar with the area, you're not too sure of what is what moving forward, and including the K2 valley as well. So that'll be included in that. On the 10th, I attended my Trinidad Urban Renewal Board meeting, and again, we are soliciting for board members. We are short 3 board members on that. So if anybody is interested, Ms. Arnold, Mr. Peters, anyone local to me like to participate in the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. This group is in need of some board members. We meet once a month for maybe an hour and a half. It's not a whole lot of homework to do on it. Chairman Ed Grego does a great job in preparing the board for upcoming agenda items. They're short and sweet. But it does have a lot of progress and commitment for the community moving forward, utilizing the tax increment funding, the TIF, and possible future endeavors such as the new car dealership that we put downtown across the Bill Long Code dealership as we speak. And also it will help in fighting blight. So if those people are concerned about the community and why is this building still up, why is that one not torn down, why, well, this is where you are to be heard and voice your thoughts. City of Trinidad will not condemn the property. The Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority will do the condemnation and the blight to remove said buildings in the community, such as abandoned houses, and even one big topic we're discussing right now is Cougar Canyon and the hotel that is out there. That is one thing that's been on the county's radar for a long time, securing that property and getting that Metro Board through the City of Trinidad reorganized so we can move forward and obtain or moving forward with auctioning or getting those taxes redeemed. But until the hotel, for lack of better words, that is in ruins at this point, who wants to build a house and have that as your front yard to look at? So those are some of the steps that this organization would help the community move forward with and has that authority to do so. So I encourage anybody who is tired of or wants to improve the community in that capacity, please call Mr. Ed Grego. Joe Messis, you'd be a perfect candidate as well for that organization. And Jody Motto, I've tried to move her on there. She actually was going to be on there about 4 years ago. But I'm going to maybe steer her. So. But it's a great organization to be part of, especially for the city limits of the City of Trinidad and moving forward with businesses. Keeping the local level, we have a meeting with the Brownsville grant at the A.R. Mitchell Museum on the 16th. It's at 5:30 p.m. I encourage everybody who is interested in looking into information regarding contaminated properties or businesses such as asbestos or other hazards to attend this meeting. There's some grants available. I think $600,000 was reported in yesterday's conference, I think. So there's some monetary awards that are out there, people that want to apply for, say, an old property of some sort, and for getting this assessment done. Council of Governments, one of my favorite organizations that I'm proud to be a part of, has some great news. It's not secured yet, but we've received a letter of an award of $1.5 million through the AAA program through Veronica Mays, and the deadline is the 17th for confirmation, and they're just waiting on any appeals for any organizations that did not receive a grant letter. But if this stays true, we will have our senior center in Huerfano County 100% paid for with this $1.5 million grant. And we'll also include part of the funding for the bus barn and the transportation hub that's going to be in Huerfano County. So this is a huge achievement for Huerfano County and for South Central Council of Governments. So I'd like to congratulate Veronica Mays, Lou Ray King, our interim director, and for all their efforts that they've done moving forward for Council of Governments. So I'm very proud to be a small part of that team, and I look forward to getting that coming to fruition. So that's all I have to mention.
Thank you, sir. In brevity, one of the opportunities that we have is attend the Colorado Counties Incorporated meeting. Last week we had a battery of bills that were coming our way, and definitely one of the ones that Commissioner Tony has speaks of the removal of the prohibition of the sale of all this farm and or residential equipment. That was a big win. And I tell you one thing, when it comes to those 2 days that we have in Denver, the legislative format that we have, it's some pretty good arguments because we get an opportunity to speak directly to the sponsors of the bill and in so many ways influence what's going to be impacting counties in both financial and or unfunded mandates. And I would encourage if anyone would be interested in attending those meetings, 2 days packed from early till whenever, just of information. We go through 9 different steering committees, and each one of the committees has bills that they're presenting, and the argument, the dialogue goes back and forth, and then at the end of the day, we take a position as CCI, Colorado Council Incorporated. We take a position, and that position is actually posted on the website, which I believe we have a link on Los Animas County, so you can see the legislation that is impacting how we are pushing, supporting, and otherwise opposing, or whatever the case may be, calling for amendments. One of the bills that that not necessarily under CCI's perspective, but House Bill 1279. This is basically an abortion bill in which last night it passed the House, and after about 23 hours of testimony, and they really get debated to the point that the pro and the con push forward. We hope that the governor would veto this bill simply because it says that in the state of Colorado, if this legislation passes as it stands, a fetus, an egg, or an embryo basically have no voice in Colorado. So to me personally, I'm against this particular piece of legislation because it does more than it's intrusive. I think there is ways by which abortion can be addressed, but that's one of the bills that is kind of hanging out there. As my commissioners mentioned, the meetings that we had with Judy Walden yesterday, we had an opportunity to invite her to do a presentation as well with the Scenic Highway of Legends. And we're hoping that the grant and the work that Los Animas County is working to do the wayfinding signage throughout Highway 12 is going to provide some historical perspectives, i.e. maybe 2 or 3 signs between here and Huerfano County, identifying the pueblos, the roads, the historical markers. You are here now, this is where, that kind of thing. And one of the most impactful things that we, as Huerfano County, Los Animas County, we're hoping, as well as the Scenic Highway of Legends, we have a KT boundary. Basically, that takes us back to the extinction of the dinosaurs right off of the offshore of Trinidad Lake. So there is a ton of opportunity that we can participate with higher education, perhaps Colorado School of Mines and other schools up in Denver, so we can have a delineator and a marker that leads people that are coming to the park, the 42nd Park, to not take a detour and go visit us on Highway 12. I think that has been one of the best kept secrets, and we have enough attraction in their historical perspective to invite people from all over. The opportunities are many. And then on my last report, we had yesterday also a meeting with the opioid settlement. Right now, the opioid Region 19, we're on the process of going through the 2-year planning. We still don't know how much money is going to come to the region, but this is going to be basically for the next 18 years. So whatever money the state of Colorado gets is going to be divided amongst the 19 regions, and each region by population and by impact of the opioid pandemic. It's going to be one of those things that the distribution of funds, the formula allocation is going to be worked through the process, but we are expecting to get, I don't even want to put a figure out there because we might not even hit that. So once we do that, we are probably one of the regions that has the more advanced proposal at this point, and we have ongoing meetings. The 2-year plan is being worked. It's going to be a living document, and this particular living document is going to be the one thing that we can continue to change. And as Commissioner Luis Lopez did, I'm going to put a shameless plug here because we have planning and zoning vacancy right now. We have been asking Ms. Amaro, I'm just simply putting names out there. There are opportunities to serve in your community, and certainly there is a vacancy. We did a publication on the Chronicle News and all the local media, but if you're interested, we have an application for you. So that would be my report, and once again, welcome. Now let me go to Item number 4, do we have any public comment? Okay, signing Tom Murphy, sir.
Good morning, commissioners and staff.
Good morning.
Public. A couple quick things. Mark your calendars on the Sunday the 27th in 2 weeks. I'm going to have, Trinidad Times TV is going to have essentially a meet the candidates, but it's not meet the candidates for the ambulance district election that's coming up. I'm going to come up with another name because we're not associated with doing it with the chamber. It's going to be at the Chappelle House, which is also known as William Murphy Funeral Home. I changed the name because across the street is the Bach House, the Bloom House, and Dulles, Allen, Chappelle built our house. And it's not just a funeral, it's our residence, it's other businesses, and so I changed the name. I did this actually back in 2006, back when there was quite a bit of controversy with the ambulance district. And I'm not saying now that there's anything being done wrong. I just know that there's come a point where people don't know what's going on. So as I come to you and started filming again, I'm filming them again. I think people need to be aware, and instead of appointing people, we need people to get involved. And we have now 7 candidates for I think it's May 3rd is the election. I asked Commissioner Lopez to be on the panel. I've got the mayor and one other person that are going to be panelists. It's going to start at 6 o'clock and probably go 90 to 120 minutes. I'm going to put the meeting that I did back in 2006 on YouTube, but I want to shoot a little promo or an introduction to explain to people why I'm doing this. Because I think if we don't learn from history, we repeat it. And I have some experience with other boards where if you don't have elections, if you don't get new blood in, things become stagnant. Even here, the commissioners in the past had said, we need to remove term limits because they're so valuable. I've seen the turnover here, and I've seen how new blood reinvigorates, different bodies. Secondly, I want you to mark your calendars for something else. August 12th and August 13th, and viewers maybe remember this, back in the YMCA days, we had a crisis and we needed to raise money, and so I and Monty Schumann put together what we called the YMCA Games. And it was over a couple days. It was mental and physical challenges. And I've been sitting on this. I actually saved some of the materials from 22 years ago to do this. And I told the city at their last meeting, I'm taking this on myself. I'm going to do it under Trinidad Times TV. I've talked to Mr. Shimino. I may do it under the Mount Carmel banner. But we're going to start on Friday night with a little intro at some venue. I don't want to name it yet because I haven't confirmed everything. But then Saturday at Los Niños Park, we're going to have a day of activities, mental and physical challenges. And I'm going to make it a county can put together a team. The idea is twofold. Number one, we're going to do this to raise money for a nonprofit or a couple of nonprofits. And the other is everybody needs to kind of shake off the dust of COVID and get out and shake hands with everybody and get to know people. So it's going to be a team building for the community. And so I will come back to you when I finalize more of this stuff. Maybe the county could have the team. I'm hoping the city will have a team. I'm hoping, a lot of other businesses will have a team, and then we can all get out and get to know each other and have a competition. We did this back in 2000, 2001. It was a lot of fun. We played football. We did tug of war, just standing on blocks with one person against one person, which is a lot more challenging than what you think. We did a plank walk, which was a lot of fun. And we did Simon Says and some other stuff. And one of the people competing, we were playing actually flag football. Unfortunately, she was playing defense and she was about to get married. It's something you all know, and I don't want to say. But she jammed her finger and ended up having to have a rod put in her, where the wedding ring goes. So she wasn't too happy with us. But so those are two mark the dates. So the 27th and then August 12th and August 13th. And I'm hoping, I'm going to need some volunteers. So I'm hoping some people will come out and help me. But let's just get out and have some fun and get to know each other and meet some people. So that's it. Thank you guys.
Mark me down for PA system.
PA system, okay.
And I'll get Mr. Messens to help me MC the ceremonies.
Okay, all right, all right, thanks.
So it's Simon Says, who's Simon?
Thank you so much.
We did that as a tiebreaker, and Dave Grove and somebody else, and it took me forever to get these guys out. It was a fun game, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know about it is time to come together and come back to somewhat about normality. So thank you. Oh, Julie?
I really apologize.
No, do not.
I'm still learning the hybrid world and Zoom following late with my kids, my next meeting in 1 minute. Julie Knudsen, Purgatory Watershed Partnership, and I just wanted to come here and thank you all very much for funding our PWP watershed education and outdoor programming. It's for youth and adults, and just a lot of generous folks throughout this community are all giving in to help support this really important programming. And a couple events we have coming up, it's Saturday, April 9th, we're working with CSU Extension and other partners for a small acreage landowner workshop. We have the Water Festival, which, as you know, is a lot of partners there, coming up Wednesday, May 18th. We're partnering with the Trinidad Youth Club on a monthly youth outdoor education and hiking club that came out of our outdoor education efforts from last year. We're continuing our monthly river cleanups, and we have a whole series of youth outdoor education events along the river and around the watershed coming up this summer. So we just want to thank you again very much for your support.
What days do you have the river cleanup? Is that on a Saturday?
It's the first Saturdays,
Okay.
and that's at 10 a.m. And we alternate meeting locations between Safeway and the dirt parking lot by Noah's Ark. I always post on Facebook, and if anyone's interested, I'm happy to add you to our email list as well, since it does alternate locations. And move to a slightly earlier time in the summer, so people aren't dying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. Okay. Do we have anyone on Zoom that would want to take an opportunity of this public comment space? Okay, I don't see it. Let's go to item number 6, elected officials update. Joseph, yes, sir.
We don't have any updates this morning, but we've got a couple other things coming up.
Very good. Ms. Amado.
Good morning, Commissioners and Board. Just wanted to let everybody know the window installation is kind of happening now in my office, so my office will be working from home probably the rest of today and tomorrow and probably Friday, depending on weather and the snow. The contractors asked us not to begin there, so we will be working remotely. So I also want to let the public know, please email, call, but my office will be working from home. We will not be here to serve you those couple days.
We're able to forward your calls to the office.
I will have to have Hayden look at that.
I don't know if we have that capability.
Yeah,
I
we can.
I forward mine to my cell phone,
Yeah,
and it's just a matter of pressing the forward.
the forward. I'll have Hayden, he's working right now in my office, so.
And with keeps your private numbers confidential. and
Yes.
secure.
Yeah, it'll ring up Los Angeles.
Because the new wiring's great, but every time they touch something, something else disconnects in my office. So, but other than that, we are just rolling right along. We're getting ready to start, we're collecting data for our next reval, and other than that, we're just moving forward. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ms. Amado. Do we have any comments from our treasurer, Donna Minetti?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
This is Emily Manning, County Treasurer. I just wanted to give you an update on the OGRIP situation for 2020 taxes. I did get an email from them that they just say that they were going to wrap up towards the middle of March to pay for the taxes. So I'm kind of just waiting on that to see if they come through.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I know that Primero had reached out to you, so thank you for that update.
You're welcome.
Do we have anybody from the Sheriff's Office? Sheriff Navarrete? Anybody from the District Attorney's Office? Mr. Henry Solano? Anybody from the Coroner? Mr. Julie Burford? Our County Surveyor? Mr. Gary Terry? No comments. Item number 7, unfinished business, we don't have any. We'll go on to item number 8, new business. 8A, consideration of appointment of planning commission member. Mr. Ymca.
Commissioners, before you back up, Administrative Assistant Paula Lucero submitted letters, anybody with a letter of interest to serve on the planning commission to submit those letters. We did receive one letter for a vacancy that is coming to fruition at the end of March from Mr. Maroney, John Maroney, in the Kim area. He currently fills that position, and he has expressed an interest to go ahead and fill it again for a 3-year term.
Thank you, sir.
But we still do have one opening in addition to this one.
We have one more opening. Okay, any discussion? Commissioner?
And one discussion, I entertain or I'll make the motion on the appointment of John Maroney. I believe we'll have to do that by resolution at our next board meeting, but move forward at this time to make that motion to do so.
And I second that motion.
Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Thank you. We might want to put the advertisement again on our website. I'm
It's on
sure
our
we have it
website,
there.
it's currently on our website, and that one I left open until.
Okay, okay. And if you know anyone out there that might be interested, certainly we would appreciate their service. 8B, consideration of IFP 22-I004, dust control, Mr. Jordan.
Commissioner, before you for your consideration is IFB 22-R004, dust control products. We, as we have for the last couple of years within the Road Division Department, sent out IFB for companies who might be interested in applying dust suppressant on some of our county roads. Those are roads being 20.8, 24.6, 40.0, 42.0, 67.7, 69.8, and 67.4. With the following results, GMCO Corporation, their Ymca blend in magnesium chloride, 94 cents a gallon, and an alternate endocrine blend, 80-20 for $1 a gallon. That's the board. And Envirotech did submit a bid. We didn't get any other bids. A direct email to Envirotech with our bid docs was sent to them because they are another supplier of the same type of product that they did not return on bid. So that's the board to approve GMCO's bid for the Integride blend in magnesium chloride for 94 cents a gallon. Extended price was about $137,475. I will throw in a caveat. I noticed within in their bid to us that if fuel goes over $4.659 per gallon, that they will have to add a surcharge. And I think we are going to see that more often than not with the way fuel prices are. It's difficult for contractors to nail down prices whenever their fuel prices bounce so much, especially this type of work where it requires quite a bit of fuel on their part when they shoot this. But we have $146,262.20 budgeted for this, so we should be able to cover any kind of fuel surcharge.
Mr. Garotta, whenever we do that, do we reach out to our communities with the, just notifying them of these particular projects?
We have not in the past, but it's been well received, but I can do that.
Commissioner Lopez.
I have no questions or concerns, and I'll make the motion to approve IFB 22R004 to dust control, Ingrid, what's the name of the company? GMCO? In the amount of $137,475.
Thank you, Commissioner. I second that motion.
Commissioner Felix Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Sanchez.
Okay, 8C, consideration of OBCC number 6985 to Mr. Donald Colvin in the amount of $209.04. Good morning.
Good morning. This gentleman was a veteran and had paid his registration fee and then realized that he did qualify for the free set of veteran plates. So this is refunding that. And I just wanted to comment real quick. I know we had some questions about our OBCCs, and pretty much the OBCC for us is our only correction mechanism. In our office, when we have something with maybe overpayment or that type of thing, unless we can catch it on that day, then we have to use OBCC as our corrective mechanism for pretty much anything. We're finding most things fall under 3 or 4 categories. The veteran situation being one that we run into a lot, that we require OBCCs. The other is just overpayment of titling fees. A lot of the dealers will send overages or overestimate the tax, and rather than us reject all the paperwork, send it back and wait for the correcting. A few of these we're able to go ahead and accept it and then refund the difference. It creates an OBCC and a little extra work, but it ultimately helps our citizens because then their paperwork gets entered in right away, and they don't incur more late fees or additional fees and ownership taxes, and so pretty much it gets them their title work done quicker, and we're not having to lose paperwork, sending it back and forth. So it really is a help to do it. I know that we have this today. We have 5 of them, but in general, our office, I will estimate, handles between 4,000 and 5,000 transactions a month. So, a few per month, really, in the big scheme of things, is not real bad. And that is our only corrective mechanism for overpayments and veterans things. And occasionally, sometimes we can overcharge somebody if they don't have the receipt showing that they paid something. But ultimately, that is our way of correcting things.
And Chairman, thank you, Mr. Messis, for clarifying, because I've had a lot of questions and phone calls come in due to the recent issue that arose at the clerk's office a few months ago. And the question was exactly that. What are these? Where are they coming from? Is this part of reimbursement for what occurred a few months ago? And I didn't have the answer. So thank you for coming today to clarify that. We have seen a few more than normal in the last 6 months to a year tenure that I've been here for the past 6 years. But it does make sense now that you come in and give the definition, really, an explanation of how this happens. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, and we've in our office, the level of paperwork and the growth of the county is amazing. Yet we are getting a big influx. So our paperwork has grown. So yeah, and this being our corrective mechanism, we probably will have more than what we used to have, but still, that's pretty good. Yeah, we're doing a good job of handling the flow that sometimes we have to correct things.
Thank you. Motion to approve that, sir, or any other comments?
Make the motion to approve OBCC number 6985 to Donald Colvin in the amount of $209.04.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Felix Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Sanchez.
Yes.
Item 8B, B, consideration of OPCC number 6986 to Dealer DOC LLC in the amount of $193.33. Mr.
This one is the same thing, just an overpayment on the title fee by the dealer.
Any questions, sir?
Make a motion to approve. Make a motion to approve OBCC number 6986 to Dealer Doc LLC in the amount of $193.33.
8E, consideration of,
Second.
oh, yes, thank you so much. Second the motion.
Commissioner Peters Lopez.
Yes, yes.
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Item 8E, consideration of OPCC number 6987 to Dealer DOC LLC in the amount of $187.69.
This is the same dealer that also overpaid on the second one.
Thank you. Discussion, otherwise, motion?
Make the motion to approve OBCC number 6987 to Dealer Doc LLC for the amount of $197.69.
Second the motion.
Commissioner Peters Lopez.
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez.
Yes.
Way too many OPCCs, Mr. Mestres. 8F, consideration of OPCC number 6988 to Texas Dodge in the amount of $93.39.
Last one of the dealer stuff, yeah, just a dealer overpayment on title.
Discussion, otherwise, get a motion.
Motion to approve OBCC 6988 Texas Dodge in the amount of $93.39.
I second that motion.
Commissioner Peters Lopez.
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez.
Yes.
Item 8G, consideration of OBCC number 6989 for Ymca Games in the amount of $81.20.
This one's a little different. We had charged him we charged him state sales tax on this, and it turns out that he had paid that to the dealer. So this is a refund of the state sales tax and the final OBCC of the day.
Discussion, otherwise, I get a motion.
Motion to approve OBCC 6989 to David Gaines in the amount of $81.20.
I second that motion.
Commissioner Peters Lopez.
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Mestres, thank you very much.
I'll move to that in August.
Okay, you got it in there.
Okay, item 8H, consideration of CSU Extension Office MOU. Ms. Arnold.
Morning.
Good morning.
Basically, if you guys remember, I was here several months ago with my supervisor, and we were going over the MOU that was probably 20 years old at the time. So basically what Phil and I did is took out wording that was questionable or items that we no longer do. So.
There was a staffing clause in there. Yes. That was discussed.
Yes, and Attorney Nelson helped us. Yes, there was a staffing clause, and there was also a committee clause. I think that was probably the gist of what was removed for the most part.
Yes, I reviewed the, and I worked with Phil on this, and I think the final version is.
Hey, do we have any questions for Ms. Arnold?
That was what I had for the question that was
On the staffing.
Yeah, I have no questions.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lori, for working with us, and certainly we want to make sure that this program is providing so much to our community. When we met with your supervisor, one of my questions was with the critical race theory, and I'm glad that he explained it the way he did, and reading and going through the document, no other questions, so do I have a motion to approve that?
Make a motion to approve the CSU Extension Office MOU.
And I second that motion.
Commissioner Peters Lopez.
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez.
Yes.
will you get through the signing copy?
We will get you some.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Item 8I, consideration of ARPA options. The Finance Director, Mr. Dorica.
I will, you come to me, I'm sending it to our finance director, so.
Okay.
So our ARPA funds, we need to choose an option. There's two different options that they're coming up with. The one is the revenue loss or the standard allowance. So the standard allowance, so the revenue loss is we have to prove that we lost money between 18, 19, and 20. Okay, and if we do that, then we'll open it up to where we can spend, have expenditures that will qualify a little bit bigger than what it's actually what they're telling us. The second option is a standard allowance to where, let me get to the verbiage really quickly. It is counties that are, so what is that? Anything under what? Anything over 10 million or at 10 million or below, that we could actually choose the standard allowance and then we can use it as government services. Or we can choose that option. So the commission's going to decide what option to go with because we can't flip all back and forth. We have to actually type something up, a memo, resolution to say Los Angeles County has choose option 1 or 2. So that I can submit that to them and we can say this is what the county has chosen.
So when we had our NACO representative talk to us and Finance Director Corbin was on the same phone call, one of the points that was emphasized for counties with population less than 250,000 and that received less than $10 million, which is our county, we're not required to submit a report.
But we should have something on hand for auditing.
That is correct. That is correct. And so the option 2, the majority, and then serving on the board of NACO, I went back in the clarification, and pretty much option 2 leaves the door and the opportunity pretty much at the discretion of the Board of County Commissioners to make the recommendation to the county, to the finance, and to the administrator to proceed with those expenditures.
Yes, because I think what this takes effect April 1st, to where I think, because I've never quite decided I think how we're going to spend the balance, because we've spent $162,000 so far.
Out of the 2 point,
Out of the 1.4 that we received last year.
and we'll receive another 1.4.
Correct.
Now,
So 162 of that.
If we choose one option or the other, do we have a decrease in that amount?
Yes.
No, that's not an increase, because I think there were so many things that came forward, but that's.
Possibly increase according to the revenue loss, but no increase.
No, I think we would stay with that.
I think pretty much with the,
We're allocated $2.8 million.
Correct.
And it's just up to the board to decide whether we're going to do option 1
Of how we're going to spend it.
of the revenue loss, which allows, as Chris alluded to, the county to use those monies for general services, or you do option 2, which in my opinion ties your hands a little more, because then you got to
You have to follow the
prove,
guidelines of that.
you got to prove the loss of revenue for businesses, et cetera, if that's the direction the board wants to use those monies. And we have kicked around the idea, and I'll put this in there, of perhaps using the balance of those monies to go ahead and try and complete our HVAC system here at the courthouse, going after grants to help use those monies for matches on grants. But that's still to be determined when the board wants to use those revenues.
So basically, we just have to come up with a decision. And when is that decision needed, by April 1st?
Well, it just says that it takes effect April 1st, and so I think as long as we have something on hand, because once we start to spend, we need to say, yes, we're spending because we chose option 1. So whatever I'm saying, I'm not too sure when they're going to actually decide that we want to spend the balance of these funds.
Having this such a decision to make, I would like to have some more discussion in the executive session and allow the opportunity for Commissioner Haas to be part of this decision process today. If we could do that, Chairman, and table this until executive, and then we can come out. If that's okay with the board and with staff at this time.
I would agree with that, sir. So do I have a motion to?
Motion to land table.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Dean Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez.
Yes.
Would you suggest like a memo or something? How do you think we should have this in?
I think we could just finish
Okay,
an executive session today and add that and then come out and make our decision. I just want to have a
well, that's
concurrent.
fine. I just didn't know if you wanted me to start doing something or if it needs to be a resolution.
I think we can do it either way, because at the end of the day, we have to report to the federal government whether it's option 1 or option 2. And for what I'm getting throughout, in conversation with NACO and some of the other counties, option 1 certainly is, we're meeting all the requirements.
Correct.
And so since the flexibility exists in there, but I agree with Commissioner Luis Lopez that perhaps the three of us need to have a conversation with.
Yeah, and your question, your input and Mr. Dornkam's and the staff's input is necessary for us to make this decision, because you're the ones that actually will be having to secure all this.
Thank you.
So we'll lay that on the table until executive session.
Recording in progress.
It dropped and rebooted, I'm sorry.
Somebody touched a wire downstairs.
That's fine.
Very good. So we'll come out and make a decision after executive session. Okay. We're going to go to item 8J, consideration of provision minerals and geology structure agreement with Southway Construction Company. Mr. Dorgan.
Commissioner, Southway Construction is in the process of permitting a pit up in the Thatcher area. And as part of the permitting process, if the boundaries of their pit come within 200 feet of a man-made structure, then they've got to get the owner of that man-made structure to sign off on they would have to sign off, one option is sign off on a structure agreement, and that's what they're asking the board to do here. Per item A, the structure agreement provide a notarized agreement between the applicant and the persons having an interest in the structure. The applicant is to provide compensation for any damage to the structure. And then there's two other options they can seek. They've been the company that's wanting to, in this case, permit. And we have a capital 74.2 that's within 200 feet of that boundary.
Commissioner Lopez.
If I may, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Dornkamp, over the years I've been in office, I think this would be the first new pit looked into, I think, in my tenure here. So this is a new process for me. I don't think we've had any of the new gravel pits open in 6 years that you call. And the question I have is if that's the case or not the case, is this the proper procedure here, or should they be going through planning and zoning?
I guess I can't answer that question, Commissioner, because I'm not sure. In the past, when the county has gone after gravel pits, typically I took care of those and submitted to the state, got the property owner, said, okay, we're within X amount of feet of your man-made structure, signed us off, they signed off on the state and the state. But where this is a private company adjacent to a county road, now that we're that structure owner, I thought proper procedure would be to bring it from the board to the planning commission.
Well, and kind of a follow-up question that I would have with that is, do they need to do, since it's private property, no, but do they have to do an archaeological study as well before
It's
kind of NEPA?
It's an existing pit,
Okay,
so they're taking over ownership of the permit on that
okay,
pit.
so has that existing pit been in operation?
It's been in existence since the 80s.
So it's been permitted and licensed?
It's a permitted license, it's just a transfer of
Okay.
ownership of the permit.
And that changes. Yeah, I think that will keep us from getting in any.
Yeah, see, that's right.
Okay, you got the law from council.
I apologize, I didn't make that clear.
Any other discussion, sir?
Nope, I'll make the motion to approve the division of mineral structure agreement with Southway Construction Company.
My second motion.
Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Okay, item 8K, consideration of courthouse phase 2 renovation contract extension.
Commissioner, before you for your consideration is an extension of Wilden's Phase 2 courthouse improvement timeline. The original timeline was the design build shall achieve substantial completion of the work on or before February 24, 2022, subject to adjustments of the contract that was provided in the design build documents. And what they are requesting they be enrolled in is to extend that substantial completion work date until July 27th of this year. They run into some issues with supplies like the other contractors have with projects throughout the country, frankly.
Is there going to be an impact financially to the county as far as I know the time is going to be one thing, but as far as the materials?
No, sir, we're tied into the contract itself.
And is there any penalties on our grant side of this if we're not completed by a certain date?
No, I think our grant extension, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is to the end of September. I'm shooting from the hip.
We got an extension. I don't know if it's September or December, but I'll look into that. But we did get the extension on this.
Well, by July.
This grant is going on for a while. So we did get an extension.
It will give you sufficient time to prepare the reports for the closing of the grant.
Yeah, because we also underfunded, and I know they're a little bit of a hurry for us to finish that grant. Because like I said, both grants have gone on for a while. But I'll touch base with both of them and let you know.
Very good. Any questions? So there is a motion to approve or not?
Motion to approve courthouse phase 2 renovation contract extension.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese Lopez?
Yes.
Item 8K, consideration of courthouse, I'm sorry. Item 8L, consideration of RFQ 22-E001, updating of 2021 Dodge Run Emergency Command Unit. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Please.
So, Commissioners, I went out for bid on the upfitting of my new EM command unit. Upfitting means adding lights, the sirens, the radios, getting it all ready to go out on any hazard that we have in the county.
Okay.
And so I received 2 bids and
Question, how old is your former vehicle?
I'm not sure what, I think it's 2009, I'm not sure.
Yeah, pretty old. Are we planning to utilize that in the fleet?
Actually, Derek is going to take it over to the sheriff's office. And Sheriff never had me compile these final conclusions about meetings in the months before this. The unit I got before was from the ambulance and it was already fully updated.
And can you touch on covering the expenses, funds?
Yes, it was a grant and it was a 60-40 match grant.
Okay.
And so we used some money from the All Hazards Fund and then received some money from DHSEM through a grant through emergency management. I was the only emergency manager without any vehicle. And this one was leaving, well, left you all stranded one time.
What was that? Driving it.
Driving it.
So the request is for MHQ?
Yes.
And for $9,066.79.
Yes. And this is the outfit that Derek, Sheriff Navarrete uses for his units as well.
Any other questions, Commissioner Lopez?
I haven't, thank you.
May I get a motion?
Motion to approve RFQ 22-E001, upfitting of the 2021 Dodge Ram Emergency Management Command Unit to MHQ of New Mexico in the amount of $9,066.79.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez, and I second that motion.
Thank you.
Commissioner Felix Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese Lopez?
Yes.
Item 8N, consideration of Colorado Interactive Access Government Project Management Plan. Reverend Chan?
Commissioner, sometime back, the board approved us, the county, changing our website format from the SIPA to this Access Gov. And this is a formality that we need to ask the board to exercise, that we go ahead and sign this agreement and get back into Access.gov or Access Gov.
Commissioner Lopez.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we confirmed Christy Coverly was our SIPA representative, and now you'll be the Access Gov.
Okay, sure.
Is that what we did, or?
I think they put my name.
Oh, you
So
are.
I need the board's approval to act on behalf of the county.
I could remember personally.
I didn't necessarily want it, but it came to me this way, so.
Or was it Sims that you take care of Sims?
She
Oh,
does.
Sam,
Sam.
yes, I can do Sam's.
Too many acronyms. I have no questions.
Okay, no questions from me either. Read the document. Standard, I get a motion on that. Commissioner Lopez.
Motion to approve our interactive Access Gov project management plan.
I second that motion.
Commissioner Felix Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez.
Yes.
And I'll sign that on behalf of the board, since it's in my name.
Thank you. Well, we've got the honor to have a representative from the hospital here. We come to your consideration of a Mountain Raphael memorandum of understanding. Mr. Dorgan.
Commissioner, before you for consideration, and we may want to take this into executive prior to the board making a decision. A little bit of discussion, but before you for consideration is a memorandum of understanding between Los Angeles County and also LPR.
We do have that. I saw that on the executive session, council. So I think at this point in time, we will go ahead and
You want to maybe
hear from. Sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and executive after that.
Commissioners, thank you very much for spending a couple of minutes with me in tying in the best performances at Mount San Rafael. So, the memorandum of understanding is simply an acknowledgement between Mount San Rafael Hospital and the commissioners that we, MSRHC, is a not-for-profit providing care to those that are not able to provide or pay for those services, and that you, as a representative of the citizens of Los Angeles, acknowledge that we are such. To do that, this is a requirement that we have in order for us to participate.
Recording in progress.
To participate in what we know as the 340B program, which allows the hospital to participate in some discounts from the manufacturers based on providing these services. So with your permission, we'd really like to get that memo signed. It's just pretty simple. Hopefully it's nothing too complicated. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Couple questions, and maybe this is just more for clarification. How does the county government enter into a private sector commitment or agreement, memorandum of understanding? My question that comes up to me is, and this will probably be an executive session question, but is this a federal mandate, a state mandate? Federal. So the federal mandate comes in. So the second question is to follow that mandate up for us to entertain into this or enter into this agreement is what is to provide proof that these services are being actually provided to the indigents or to the I guess this would be for the poor of the community, correct?
Yes, yes. And a good question, very good question. What's the proof? There's a couple of things that we have to do as a hospital to substantiate our 503C eligibility. Specifically, each year we do file what's known as a 990H or 990. Basically it's our tax return for the facility. That's one of the things. We also file what's known as a cost report with CMS every year. That's the other things that we have to file. And in both of those documents, we do provide evidence of what things we have provided in terms of charity care, et cetera.
So my third question, Chairman, for me. So when a service is provided for those that are indigent, how do they apply for this service at no charge to them and no fear of them going into collections from a billing agency?
Well, the way we do that is we do have some policies inside of the facility that allow us to work with folks. Basically, once we have one individual specifically dedicated to this process in terms of what people can qualify for and how they can qualify and apply for those sorts of things. What they do is they help people, once that has been granted, the account is written off as zero, so that the account doesn't actually go to a collection agency.
Yes.
So, in order for patients to kind of qualify for this program, they can get a card printed off. Many people at the clinic can print them off, and they should use to fill their prescriptions in outpatient pharmacy where the card is used, where they can see the discount. So, when people that don't really qualify are people that are already on Medicaid. And it's a constantly changing list through the federal government of what medications qualify. So there may be 1 month that medication qualifies and the next it doesn't. But it's just through the outpatient pharmacy that they're seeing this discount that we are able to pass on.
So this 340B program, it's just for medications then?
Yes.
So not for actual medical services provided?
No.
Okay.
But the agreement is that we promise to provide those services, so that's how we go through that whole process of making sure that we get people qualified.
So they can get the free medication, but they'll still have to pay for the services, or say, go to the emergency room and indigent.
And if they qualify for the free services, they'll get them.
All of them.
Yeah.
So, thank
And you as a medical, you work in that industry, so.
So that the program here, the 340B, is going to be extended to the indigent, uninsured, or underinsured population throughout basically the state of Colorado. One of the questions that oftentimes is, do they have to be a resident of the state of Colorado?
No.
Okay.
Well, if they're qualifying for Medicaid, they do, because that's a Medicaid. Medicaid is associated with the state.
Okay. And the reports that you produce, either on a quarterly basis on how many people receive the benefits, at any point in time, if the Board of County Commissioners wanted to get information on that, would we be given access to that? Not necessarily you can actually sanitize the documents, but this is how many clients were served and these were the dollars expended, that kind of thing.
I think we can do something like that. We want to be very open and transparent, so the answer would be yes. The questions that we would always ask is, what are the HIPAA laws and how is that going to apply? So, obviously no patient information, but we'd be happy to provide other information as requested.
And I think the bigger question, personally for me, would be that Los Angeles County hereby accepts such commitments on behalf of the citizens of Los Angeles County. So you can imagine that the responsibility that is placed upon our shoulders when we say, yes, indeed, these services will be provided. And, for me, it's a thing of, could there be any liability? Because we go now into therefore, in consideration of the mutual agreement between you and us, therein, the consideration, the county ensures that, and then we go with the clause that actually says, the commissioners accept the commitment that you will provide the services, and then the commissioners hereby acknowledge that healthcare services as provided by the hospital hereunder are in the public interest of course, our community. And so, for me, basically acknowledging that Mount San Rafael Hospital has expressed the commitment to provide the services, and that's a very worthy project, to provide basically meds to people that are in need of them. That really would be just that little great line of liability, and that's what I agree, that there is no liability transfer to the county in the event that there is a breach of the contract on your behalf with our constituents.
Right, and I'm not sure if I quite follow how there might be a transfer of liability.
Okay.
So, because as long as, if we cease to exist, what would happen, there's not, who would come back to the county and say, you got to do something about this. We, on the other hand, promise that we will maintain a hospital license and function as a hospital, and we also promise to keep our not-for-profit status, which is substantiated through this 990H form that we file with the IRS. So I think that answers that.
One last question. Is this umbrella under TAHA, or is this separate from TAHA?
Actually, it would be Taha, the same thing. So, you know, we do business as Mount San Rafael. So our legal name is Taha, or Trinidad Area Health Authority, Health Association. Sorry. But we do business as our DBA is Mount San Rafael.
And I'm just asking, so when we go to executive, I can ask my attorney.
Yeah. She can correct, right?
And I guess one question, should there be any recommendation, and again, we don't know that yet, but maybe a word, the changing of the language to.
We'd be happy to
There
entertain. We took this as a form, so we'd be happy to, if you got specifics, we'd be happy to entertain what changes you have.
This document can be manipulated.
Yeah, we'll go back, we'll make sure that we really can make those changes, but
Sure.
once you make the recommendation, we'll go look and, we don't have any harbor, but, you know, we have to make sure that it does form.
No, and I had an opportunity to go to the 413B website, and a lot of the language that you have here is directly from there, so, yeah, it's understood.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
So we'll need to table this until, at this time, and then probably go into executive session, and get back to that, we'll make a decision today, depending on what we come up with for having our counsel and our staff have to manipulate this document.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Make a motion to table.
Commissioner Pete Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes. What was your name again for the record?
Calvin Carey?
And we gotta be careful. I hope you don't have any more pharmacists over there, because you said this was your number one. Okay, well, then you're all right.
Okay, item 9, financial matters. 9A, consideration of bills and payroll for the first half of March 2022.
Payroll as of March 15, 2022, $172,642.31. Any questions on payroll? Bills paid on March 2nd, $406,866.08. We did pay for the EDA grant of $5,553.98. They did some kind of census at the jail for $17,395.01, and then our second payment for the courthouse project for $330,409. On March 9th, we issued bills of $56,591.36, and our first payment for the Fisher's Peak impact study, I did a total grant on for $10,118.75, and that's it.
Questions? Make the motion to accept bills of payroll for the first half of March 2022.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Pete Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.
Then 9B, information on the February 2022 financials.
So I'm in the middle of my audit, so a lot of these figures will change,
Yes.
but I thought I should submit just to let you know where we're at, a little bit, it's going to change. So right now, general fund has a loss of $392,000. Our property tax has not come in. The sales tax that has come in has been booked out because it belongs to 21. So that's why everything will change. That's why I'm saying in the middle of the audit, there's a lot of moving back and forth. Road and Bridge has a loss of $79,128. Airport has a loss of $40,249. Contingent has a profit of $14,076. Capital expenditure has a loss of $57,586. And jail improvement has a loss of $8,218.01. But as I said before, you can look at the balance sheet, but everything is, I'm getting everything in order for 21. Okay? So once I get everything in order, probably by the end of March, I should have a better balance sheet for everybody.
Okay.
Okay?
And your prediction on the overall deficit?
For 21, I think it looks really good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you. So one of the points I wanted to highlight, should there be, the governor Colorado has asked the federal government to waive the gas excise fees, of which I think 7 cents is collected, I believe, at the pump in Colorado. And I might have my figures wrong. Part of that, the counties get a percentage, state, county, and then municipalities. And so if the government gets that approved, which basically is an HUTF, and we don't know if Congress is going to act on it, or even through executive order, the White House might do a promulgation of this waiving of these fees, which he sent a letter the day that Russia invaded Ukraine. And if that happens, Mr. Doran, that HUTF may have for the remainder of the year an impact to our county base when it comes to this tax.
Well, my understanding is, Commissioners, that at the federal level, they're considering waiving the fuel sales tax. And I think at the federal level, I want to say it's around 18 cents a gallon, I believe. That has no impact on Colorado. We get our HTF monies from the Colorado sales tax, as well as that fuel sales tax. And as you mentioned, we get a percentage of that, as do other municipalities and agencies throughout the state government also get percentages of the HTF collected. So, that's my understanding. If it comes from the federal level, then yes, we're going to have to make some, and if it impacts our HTF projected revenues, we're going to have to make some serious changes, because about 80% of our revenues within the road and bridge department is HTF.
And we were told that perhaps there was not going to be any impact. I just want us to keep a vigilant eye on that, because with the political landscape, we never know what impact it could have to counties. Also, I'll be reaching out to NACO in the event that this is going to be doing any type of impact, so we can send a letter from NACO to the federal government to leave counties alone. Otherwise, we cease to exist. A lot of the road and bridge services would be impacted tremendously.
82%
range. Okay. Just kind of on the radar. Well, item number 10. We're going to basically call for. We're going to go into
this first one.
That sounds good. Sounds good. At this point in time, I need a motion to suspend the regular Board of County Commissioners meeting and go into the San Luis County Board of County Commissioners acting in the capacity as the Board of Human Services, with later on after this meeting we'll go into executive session.
I'll make that motion with a 10-minute recess.
Thank you. Second motion.
Commissioner Pete Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Luis Lopez?
Yes.